Okay. All right. So vocation basically is your job, your business. Some of us are on 9-to-5 jobs. Whatever, it could be 9-to-5, it could be listed at 9-to-5. You understand what I mean by 9-to-5 job? Some of us are just strictly on only businesses. Some of us have jobs and side hustle. Some of us have multiple side hustles. And for some of us, it's just only business. But wherever we are, we need to set goals for that. For some people, it might be a ministry that you run, and that's the only thing you do. And maybe you even earn an income from that. So which kind of like is under your vocational. But if it's a place where you earn income, I'm putting it under vocational. So yesterday we tried to conclude our financial goals, and I hope we were able to go back and conclude on those financial goals because it really has its place where you now come to your vocational goals, because they need to marry, they need to align. So I just hope you've done that. So now we move on to this. So as I said, when we're looking at vocation, we're looking at job, and we're looking at business. Let's look at the job. Before we set goals, we need to ask ourselves some very important questions. First of all, do I even like my job? Am I just doing it because it gives me my income? There are a number of people that are in that situation. You go home every day saying, gosh, I hate this job. I don't want to continue. So the question for you, therefore, would be, whichever side of the spectrum you're on, is this where I want to be in the coming year? So if it's not where you want to be, then you want to be looking at certain goals around that and what you need to do. Is it that you want to retire? Is it that you want to change jobs? You just have to look at what it means for you. But ask yourself that question. I sent these questions to us already. Another question you need to ask is, do I feel productive on my job? And productive is that, you know how you can be doing a job and yes, you're earning the income, but you don't feel like you're part of this organization. You don't feel like you're really contributing in a strategic kind of manner in this environment. So that if you look at that Maslow's law, the highest portion, that place of what's that last one called? Maslow's law, what's the highest point called? What is it? Actualization? Somebody must know Maslow's law. Wally, help me here.
Good evening, Pastor T. I believe it's the self-actualization. Yes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I'm still double checking.
Oh yeah, you didn't want to say what wasn't right. Okay, self-actualization. And I think my understanding of that is when you come to a place, you've come to your own. You feel confident in that place. You feel it's beyond just the money. So do you feel productive on your job? Am I getting paid enough? You have to check that as well. Like, sometimes you might be on a kind of job, you know what you're doing, you know the contribution here, but what they're giving you doesn't match what you're getting. Now, how is the commute? I want to even talk about this commute. Last year, when I did the same exercise, I saw my sheet where it says, how is the commute? My commute last year was roughly 1 hour to go in the morning and an hour, 15, 20 minutes, depends on traffic, coming back. But in my sheet, I wrote my commute is, I said what it is, and I now said, but I love it. That was, no, earlier this year, I didn't mind earlier this year, yes. And I was surprised. Okay, sorry, it was last year. The year is over. It's so amazing how far things have gone fast. It was last year. I wrote down, I love it. Now I work 15 minutes away, and I'm asking myself, how could I have said I love driving 1 hour away? So I guess different times and different spaces. But we are in an era of work at home. So maybe that doesn't apply to you. Or maybe you're doing a hybrid. Part of the week you go to work, part of the week you're at home. Or maybe whatever combination it is, your question to yourself is, are you satisfied with that? It's not everybody might be satisfied with working from home, but you want to look at that as pertains to your job. Then critically, you now want to ask yourself, what is my job aspiration for the coming year? And that is going to be like a major part of your goal, because if I am aspiring towards becoming a director, or I'm aspiring towards becoming XYZ, then I would be looking at the skills that I need to develop in order to get there. Now, I remember somebody shared with us that she was going to go to school, I think to do a master's degree. And I believe it's because she's looking at the skills she needs now for the future. So in your case may be, maybe this coming year, I'm not looking yet at changing positions. It might be I'm looking at developing the skill that would enable me to change positions. When you look at the job, if you say, oh, I don't like this job right now, I'm not being paid enough, then it means you have to go back and say, what do I have to exchange with that will give me a higher pay? Maybe there's something else I need to do. Maybe there's an exam I need to do. Maybe there's a course I need to take. But whatever it is, there will be something I can do that will take me out of where I am right now into a better paying job. There's a young man I know that did that, between last year and this year, where he looked at where he was, realized that this is not going to work for him for where he wanted to go, and had already, interestingly, he had done exams in other fields, but never really pushed himself to finding jobs in that area. But when the time came and he felt, okay, the time is now, I must change jobs, he became very diligent, very resolute. He got different people to mentor him in different areas. And the end result of that, with prayer, is that he got the kind of job he wants for now. Right now, he's beginning to say, okay, what would be my next step? And I thought that was a very good example to give. I have also shared a similar example of my sister, who is a nurse practitioner, who took some very expensive courses because she wanted to change from bedside nursing to something that she would prefer. And that's what she's doing now. All this is to say we need to be very intentional where our job is concerned, and don't just complain about it or move on, set goals for it. The next one we're going to look at would be our business goals. And this one can be very complex because you may be a person who is in multiple businesses. We used to learn in those days how you need at least 4 streams of income. But I read in a book, an amazing book, I should have even written that here. He said there's a difference between a serial entrepreneur and a simultaneous entrepreneur. So can somebody tell me the difference? Anybody? Or I'll call your name. Okay, what's a serial entrepreneur? You can type it.
Well, Pastor T, I'll go with the word
Thank you.
Which maybe sort of implies one after the other, the fingers in many pies, sort of.
The one after the other. Okay,
yeah.
What would we call a simultaneous?
At the same time, running.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when you are, thank you very much. When you are a simultaneous entrepreneur, it means you are running businesses all at the same time. It's like they're all at the same level. Maybe you have a startup. You're just starting this, and then you're starting this, and then you're starting this, and then you're starting this. I don't know if I can share this. So there was a gentleman that once reached out to me because he wanted to come to Canada. And he had all these ideas and had registered, I don't think less than 10 companies. Not one of those companies was functioning, but he had registered them as proper businesses. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this one. And he was sharing these things with me. It took me a while to realize that none of them was functioning. And it's very easy to fall into that trap. I have fallen into that trap many times. So it's something one needs to work. But if you build one business, it gets to a place of cruising level. You start another one and leave that one again. Then that one too grows. You start another one. It's different from doing all at the same time. So you want to ask yourself, how many sources of income do I have? Which is the multiple streams of income. This is aside from your job. This is now under business, okay? How have these businesses performed in the last 1 year? And I know people might say, oh, it's COVID related. I don't want to give excuses. I'm going to say maybe something like travel could have been a challenge, but if you look at the year before, was it okay? And then what is the projection for the new year? Is it still going to be the way it was in this last 1 or 2 years? So this brings you to the point where you need to ask yourself, can you say you have a comfortable income from the business? I want to share another thing with you. It was a root shock when I discovered this. I can't explain it more than that to say that was a root shock. So I was in this business of bringing students. I kind of still do that into Canada. And it took me a while to understand that it's seasonal. It's seasonal because students go to school in September or January, sometimes in between. But I was treating the business as though it was a business that can sustain me the whole year long. No, it can't. So we have to be very careful, particularly when you join things like multi-level marketing businesses. Not everybody is cut out for that. If you join that and you're doing very well, kudos to you. But if you join it and you are not the kind of person that's going to go after people, don't do it. Don't let people convince you to pay that initial amount of money. They collect their commissions and they're off. Everybody comes to tell you about FX business. FX business, how many people are doing it successfully? Then you do it, you'll pay. Some FX businesses, you have to pay a monthly fee. They'll say it's for training. You are paying them in hard currency. How much are you getting back? Some people do it and they succeed. So different businesses, you have to look at them critically. That's why question 4 says, is there any business I need to stop doing due to lack of productivity? Like my case, I decided, okay, I'm not going to push too much on this business. If you come to me and you tell me you need this service, I offer it, but I don't make it a major thing that is something I'm pushing because it doesn't give me the revenue that I want, and I would not waste my energy in doing that, okay? Anything you are doing right now, you need to ask yourself, am I being productive? Now, the fact that you're not being productive does not mean you should stop. It may mean that because you don't have a proper strategy for it, that is why it's not taking you forward. But whatever business you're doing, you must tell yourself, is this thing going to give me an annual income, a monthly income, a quarterly income, a daily income, depending on the model of the business. But these are real truths we need to face and decide, you know what, it is better for me not to do anything and to do something, waste my energy, waste my time. You only have 24 hours. Now, these are things that I have decided to add that I didn't have before, simply because I found it very useful. Does my business have a brand book? Now, when we think of brand book, it depending on the level of business we are at, we might feel my business hasn't reached the level of having a brand book. But I dare say that every business, before you even start, should have a brand book. Okay, does anybody here not understand what I mean by a brand book? Thank you very much. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Since we have just one person, I think I will still explain. So a brand book basically means that you have different, like your vision, mission book, your logo, your fonts, how you should appear and not appear, what you are about, who are your competitors, what is this vision, what is this business about? You can even have a tagline. What is the tagline I can use as an example? 7-Up used to be what? I don't remember what it used to be. Let me use Ontario. Ontario's tagline is yours to discover. All right, Ontario, Canada, yours to discover. Every business has a kind of tagline that defines them. All right, how do you want to appear? Do you want to appear serious? Do you want to appear friendly? Do you understand? Because when you know the target audience, that brand book also tells you about your target audience. When you know who you are targeting, then it helps you in how you are branding yourself. If your target is for children, then you will not have a logo that is targeted at adults and vice versa. All right. Even your fonts will be such that it makes a child warm towards it. Of course, there is also even though your business might be for children, but you are marketing to the parents because the parents are the ones going to buy. But when you hold sessions, strategy sessions with people, they can help you with your brand book, and you can investigate on your own and do it yourself. So it is important to have this. Do I have a business plan that I am following? Where your business plan shows your strategy, your business strategy, your marketing strategy, your customers, your social media content strategy. How am I going to market myself in a public space to grow my brand? What is going to be my revenue from this business? Are you checking those things? Are you asking those questions? Do you have it documented? Are you going to build a team? When are you going to start building a team? You may not know when you start building a team, but you need to think about it. Right? Now, let me use the Watchers Prayer Ministry, for example. Once upon a time, we solely relied on volunteers. But right now, the ministry cannot rely on volunteers, because a volunteer at the best is a volunteer. You can have your time available. Praise God for all of that. But there are certain things that pertains to the business of the ministry that cannot rely on volunteering. Do you get it? For example, right now, we're at the end of the year. Filings need to be done. Filings, annual taxes, although there's no tax because they're not for profits. Whatever government regulations are required. Yesterday, I've sent it out to the consultant who is going to handle this. I can't do it on my own. So your business should have those. If you have a genuinely registered business, and before I go further, if your business is not registered, today, register your business. You should not be doing a business that is not properly registered as a live entity, whether as a sole proprietorship or as a partnership or as a corporation. Your business must be registered. So I want to check, somebody sent a message here. Let me see what it is. Please speak. Okay, the difference is clear. Thank you. Yes, also 7 up. Somebody raise up her hand. Please speak. Oluwakemi. You're muted if you want.
I'm so sorry, ma. Is a mistake.
Oh, okay, no problem. No problem.
Just sit mistakenly, ma.
Okay.
All right, ma. Thank you, ma.
All right. So you're asking yourself then, protection. What are the insurance policies you're putting in place? Either because of for you as a person, or is there anything about your business that requires protection? You need to check that. For example, if your business is intellectual property, how are you protecting it? What things are you putting in place to protect your intellectual property? I don't have the answers, but these are things you need to be asking yourself. How do I remain productive? How do I grow this brand? How do I grow the business? Okay. Do you need to pay somebody? You need to come to a place and say, okay, I might need to pay somebody to do the business strategy for me. Whatever the case may be, you need, this is like the meat of your business to help you position your business in a stronger way, to position it for greater things that are coming in the future. And I'll end my presentation at this point in time. I sent these questions to us for us to look at, write answers to them, process it. You don't have all the answers. Oh yes, don't be caught up. Don't feel as if you have to do everything, but have it in mind. Have it in mind. These are things you should have in mind going forward. Okay. So today we're going to set our goals for our business, for our jobs, and even though the worksheet I sent to you says set 3 goals, because you might be running both job and business, you might have more than that. It is okay. But just make sure anything you set, you're asking yourself, what is the strategy to accomplishing this? If all you want to do this year is one thing, it's fine, because you have done one thing as opposed to doing nothing. Okay, what's next? I think next thing is just to remind us it's all about one thing that you can do, such that by doing it, everything becomes easier or unnecessary. And we keep looking at our bigger goals and narrowing it down until get to the smaller goal. Oh. Any questions?